Y'all doing, folks? I'm sitting out here on my porch. I made this chair. See if I can't switch this so you can see it. I made this chair, and what I did was I cut a piece of plywood to fit in the little groove. But the biggest thing is I wanted to show you the fubarred. And y'all gonna laugh because this was a fubarred. This was definitely a fubarred. You see my pole? See the side that's got a hole in it? Well, it's covered in leaves down at the bottom anyway. I needed to take the pump off because it was leaking. And in the process of taking the pump off, as you can see all the wet sawdust around it, I emptied out half the pole. So that was a fubarred, because the little plastic thing that you use to seal it, well, I kind of lost that, and so we're looking at getting that replaced, and maybe possibly buying a small fiberglass pool for there. I don't know. You know, chickens are doing well. Chickens are doing real well. They're all out there. Dog is out there barking at them like he normally does. Hey! They're getting ready to go up for the night. Let's see if you can see them. They all in there. They finally getting along. Now the two new ones, I'm still waiting to find out if they are both hens. Come on. Or if one is a rooster. If one is a rooster, according to the county, I got to get rid of it. But that's what I'm doing. And I just wanted to come on real quick and wish everybody a very happy New Year, and please be safe. Be safe, because there's a lot of terrorist threats out there. And you know, for you guys that are driving, please be aware that there's a lot of craziness going on. And we're just gonna sit out here and enjoy the little bit of sunshine before it starts raining. Now, I took with my greenhouses, I opened them up a little bit so if it does rain, it'll water them. I got one rhubarb plant back there in the back bed, that very far bed back there, that is still going strong. And we're not gonna deal with any of that. But this is what happens. I don't know if you can see, but this is my garlic bed, and I put my lemon tree and my lime tree right there. That one's the lemon tree, that one's the lime tree. In one of my garlic beds, as you can see, the garlic is popping up already, doing real well. And that's my other lemon tree right there. That's my other lemon tree, and it's got a piece of garlic there. Now, this is the thing that you need to know about garlic. Garlic requires cold to start. So you want to plant your garlic in the fall and just let it grow all winter. Now, what I did was I planted this garlic. I started this garlic in that small bed right there. And I planted it 4 years ago. And it has propagated itself all the way into both of these two beds. And come spring, I'll get about 5 gallons of garlic bulbs out of that. So you don't need a really big space to grow stuff. Obviously I've got my bed's going all the way down, and it looks really good. Okay, you don't really need a really big space to grow something. Okay, this is my planter shelf. So when it starts to get warm, about mid-February, I'll start my plants inside. I have a light for that and a shelf that I use inside. And I'll start them inside, and then once it gets warmer about mid-March, then I'll bring them out and I'll start planting in my beds. Like this one, as you can see, it is kind of collapsed because it's about 3 years old. So they last about 3 years. That topper is still good, but the frame will go out on you, rust out on you, see. This bed right here is kale. So it's got Russian kale in here, which is really good. But right now, as you can see, the chickens have been in here and they kind of dug everything up. But this bed here, I planted lettuce last year, and I had really good success with lettuce. I got all of these beds that you see. These beds I got off of eBay, but I got the toppers off of Amazon. And I can tell you that these two beds, I bought these two beds, came as a kit off of Amazon. And like I said, they've been in the ground here for about 3 years, and they're still good. I mean, they're not falling apart or anything. The only problem is the frame. And you know, there's nothing you can really do for that. I mean, they're out here in the weather, so that's gonna happen. Duke, shush. If you can't afford to buy beds, Duke. I took some old Rubbermaid totes, and these are also about 3 years old. And as you see, they've been out in the weather, so they're starting to turn brittle and fall apart. So I'll have to do something else this year. But these beds here, I grew tomatoes in. I grew tomatoes in down there too, right there. And I got a whole bunch of tomatoes this year, which mostly went to my chickens. That's where most of this stuff goes. If I don't use it, it goes to the chickens or to the dog. But the best bed on the market, if you're looking for a galvanized bed, the best bed is that tan one right there. That tan one. And that one has been, I put that up 2 years ago. And it has a warranty with it for 25 years. And I got that off of Epic Gardening. I really highly recommend them. I mean, everything came with the bed. It was easy to put together. It's just absolutely awesome. I can't say that about the swimming pool. The swimming pool is a year old. I put it up last year. I took it down, drained it all out, dried it all out like you're supposed to, stored it up in the shed, and the mice got to it, and now it's leaking for some ungodly known reason. It was leaking around the pump, and I couldn't get it to stop leaking, so this will probably be going to the dump once I get all the water out of it, and we'll have to figure out a new pool to put up for next summer. But I highly recommend that you get a pool. And the reason why I recommend a pool is, and don't get a saltwater pool, get a regular pool. And the reason for that is in bad times you can take the water from that pool, and I can water my gardens, I can water the chickens, I can run it through my Berkey water filter and drink it myself, and I have water there available to flush my toilets, you know, and it gathers rainwater. So I really like a pool, but obviously, if you have a small property, Duke, if you have a small property, you have to consider what you can do. Now, the chicken coop, I built that. Ladies, please don't let anyone tell you you can't do this. I've done all this myself. I've had no help doing this. I've done all of this myself, single-handedly, with reclaimed wood. And I put all these garden beds together, filled them in with dirt. Obviously, I went and I bought a big thing of compost. I do that every spring. I buy a big compost and redo my beds. And so you want to get to know in your area who sells the best compost. And you also need to look at what plants you're going to be planting into it so that you can adjust your compost accordingly. Now, my garlic beds, they've been going, like I said, this is my 4th year on the garlic. Now, the first year that you get these garlic, I'll tell you what you do. Is you plant it, you let it sit, you don't touch it. You let it go to seed. Second year, you take out all but the biggest mature plants that you want to keep, and you let those go to seed. By the 3rd year, you can take almost all of it. I always leave 2 to 4 mature plants in my bed to go to seed, and I don't replant. I don't have to replant now. All I have to do is make sure I keep it weeded, and I add dirt to it or compost to it as it needs, because it tends to wash out because we get a lot of rain in my area. But real simple to do. Like down here, I just use simple garden blocks and put some good compost. This is my blueberry tree right here. And I got another one right there, but I don't know if it's going to survive. But I have blueberry trees, right? I have in the back over here behind the shed, I've got totes that I use and half barrels of 55-gallon barrels that I washed out and made sure they had no dangerous chemicals in them. And I grow my own potatoes and sweet potatoes. And yes, I do have some others back there that's for tomatoes or cucumbers or whatever I want to grow. As you can see, we're in winter, so everything is really kind of turning brown, But a lot of this that you see in my yard is edible. Now, I've worked really hard since I moved into this place in 2014. I've worked really hard on seeding native plants that are edible. Please, 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 if you are going to do that, please, 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 do not use chemicals in your yard. You don't want to use stuff for pest control, etc., because your pets could get into it, your chickens could get into it, and even a small amount of chemicals can kill a chicken. They're kind of stupid. They'll eat it, even though it's not good for them. But I just wanted to take this moment to let you know, hey, don't let somebody tell you you can't do this in your backyard. You can do it in your backyard. I will tell you, it is work. Every bit of this is work. This is not something I come home and I just sit on my butt once I get home. No, I've got to go out. I've got to weed the plants. I got to make sure the plants get watered. I got to make sure that, pests aren't getting to the plants, and take measures as I can. Now, I use dichotomous earth, that's DE, for my pest control. I don't use the non-edible chemicals because I found that DE, even if the chickens get into it, they'll likely do a dust bath in it, and it helps keep down, the ticks and the fleas and everything else out in the backyard. I mean, but with the way things are going, especially with the price of things, we need to really consider growing and subsidizing our food source. Now, I do it in my backyard. You can do it the easier way, which is go buy it from the farmer's market. And please be sure that whatever farmer's market you're going to, is they're actually getting it from local farms and not being shipped in on big 53-foot tractor trailers, which I do drive. So it just, times are very tough, even for me. And I want people to be able to feed their families and take care of their pets in their households. That's why I started this channel, is to give people ideas, okay? I want to give people ideas, give an idea of, hey, what can you do? You can run a small little garden and get quite a bit of food out of it. The biggest thing is you're going to have to figure out is, do I have the time to do the garden, or do I need to think of getting the garden produce from the farmer's market, and then what are you eating? Get out of that. Quit eating the dirt, crazy dog. So you have to figure out how you can preserve the garden produce, okay? Because you can buy quite a bit of garden produce at your farmer's market, but it is a matter of, what do you do with it once you get it home? I would really highly suggest that if you don't know anything, that you go to your local library and you research canning, dehydrating, and you look at what produce you can freeze, what produce you can can up. This also goes for meats. Okay, I do go hunting. I didn't go last year or this year because I've been really busy, but I do go hunting, so I subsidize my meat by what I hunt. So I'm a firm believer in, if you can't eat it, don't shoot it. So, I mean, I just want to make sure everybody's going to have a safe New Year, and hopefully things will turn around after the first of the year. We can hope. We can hope. But if you haven't looked at gardening before, I would highly suggest it, even if it's a small raised bed and you only do a little bit. Every little bit helps, son. Every little bit helps. A lot of this produce that I made this year went to my chickens. But I did can up some. Okay. The garlic, a lot of the garlic, I listened to Doug and Stacy, and a lot of the garlic, I took some of the garlic bulbs and put them in raw honey and let them ferment. So now I have my own cough syrup. Doug, it's all natural. Look at things like that, And everybody have a safe and happy holiday. And we'll talk at y'all next week. And it's getting dark here, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to cook me up some dinner. And bicycle.